Hey you guys, this is Orsi and this is going to be my a month and a half with the deck called Ephemere. Not tarot, just Ephemere, but you know, it's a tarot deck. This was my deck from Yule till Emok, because this year I decided that I would do the deck studies for longer periods of time, not just a month. Because even though, you know, I did the one deck per month last year and that was useful, I figured, you know, a month and a half would still be better for each deck. We will see how it works out. What I did during this month and a half is pretty much doing the daily draws with it, and, you know, if I had a special reading like a year ahead reading and stuff like that, I did it with this deck. This is the second deck from the creator of the True Black Tarot called, oh god, I wanted to say his name, Arthur Wang, sorry. And the guidebook is by Matt Orin. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a beautiful deck. Okay, so, you know, if you have the True Black or if you've seen the True Black, it's as beautiful as that deck. The box is the same size, even though the deck itself is smaller. It's on the magnetic one with the quote, "Why have I thought that you ephemeral when I shall rest so short a time?" inside. It's an absolutely really good quality box. I just, you know, it's for me, it's a, I'm not saying it's a problem, it's a beautiful and really sturdy box, but every time taking the deck out of it and putting it back, it's a bit of a hassle. So sometimes I appreciate an old school style box, which I don't feel bad discarding, because obviously I want to keep this deck in the box, but putting it in a pouch would make life easier for me. But I do it because, you know, the box itself is beautiful, so problems. I'm just saying because, you know, I try to provide as much information about how I use this deck as I can, so you can decide if you want it or not. It's not a cheap deck by any means, but I think because it's an indie deck, you can decide if it's worth the money. For me, it's worth the money, absolutely. I love the gold foiling, not inlay. For some reason I was thinking inlay, which is surprising. I think this deck would have worked really nicely with silver as well, and I wish people would start doing decks like this with silver, or, you know, holographic, which was the True Black, the holographic edition, which was really nice. Maybe a special edition of this one after like 5 years will come with silver foiling, I don't know, but if there is one, I will buy. So the cardstock itself is thinner, and even though it's kind of rose petally, it feels more on the leathery side. The True Black has a more lighter, as in the weight of the paper is lighter, but it's still good quality. At first I was like, oh, this is like cardbox, but no, it's not. This is more heavier cardstock and more, I would say, flexible. I don't know what's the difference between it, you know, the two of them. Oh, but there's a difference for sure. So if you're not too happy with the True Black because it was holding, you know, like this, it was too thick for you, or you just felt that it's not sturdy, maybe you will like this cardstock better. Personally, I just love them both. It's not hard to shuffle it. It doesn't stick together, which is always, you know, like a good thing. About the cards, this deck changed the major arcana. I didn't have time to do what I initially wanted, but I'm sure that at some point I will do that. And namely, to make a list, like actually sit down and write out or type out all the major arcanas, and not just note the corresponding traditional major arcana, because sometimes I think that's not a good idea with this deck, because sometimes the cards are too different from the assigned traditional major arcana, because there is one for each card in the guidebook. But I noticed that when the card meaning was different, and there was and I read the traditional corresponding card, I confused myself with the meaning, and because my mind was trying to pull back the original meaning that I learned back then. But instead, my suggestion would be, if you get this deck, just let go of the traditional 22 majors and just use the major arcana in this one like a complete new set of cards. There's still gonna be cards where the meanings are pretty much the same, but there's gonna be new ones where you're not gonna be able to immediately say what it should be. And I tripped myself up with trying to do that, like trying to, for example, defiance. I read the meaning, and I actually used this card, or got this card, for a friend's year ahead reading, and she was asking me, what is this card? And I couldn't tell. I read what I wrote in the the reading for her, and I couldn't tell which card this is correspond to. And honestly, at first I was like, oh shoot, I should check it because I don't know. But then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that, because I want to work with the card meaning for defiance. And if for me that doesn't turn on the traditional meaning, then I should just let that one go. It's a very simple design, as in there's no busy cards, pretty much. Only the major arcanas are, it's always pretty much always busier, but you have everything in a card, in a minor card. See, for example, 4 of Wands, for you to pull in the meanings, because the minors are pretty much, all of them are the same. So you don't have to relearn 78 cards, you just have to learn 22 cards pretty much. 4 of Swords. I don't know, I kind of really like all of that. This is one of the favorite Ace of Wands. Isn't it beautiful? This is one of the few really colorful cards, by the way. It's not monochrome, it's not using just a few colors, but most cards doesn't have multiple colors. Oops, there's a star stuck here, which is not a problem for me, I'm just saying. Look at that crescendo. So you know there are simple ones like 7 of Pentacles, but you can imagine what 7 of Pentacles is all about. So yeah, that's what I have on the majors, I guess. The guidebook doesn't seem big or a lot if you just look at it, but it has all the information that you need, and I really do appreciate that every card has a description about the artwork itself. Oh, look at that, someone and someone. I wasn't even looking for that. I was just thinking that it would be nice to show you a card in the guidebook, that I actually have it here, but don't even need to do that. The deck was like, okay, this is what you need. So you have keywords, calling, duty, responsibility, and mission. And if you want, you can see the As Arcana section, and this is what is gonna tell you that this is justice, which for someone I think you can say or tell with the sword that this is justice. But there are, like I said, defiance, for example. For me, I don't even know where defiance is. Obviously, in the guidebook, the biggest part is the major arcana, because this is where new information lies. Where is defiance? It's gonna be close, right? And I'm not gonna find it. No, defiance is. Oh yeah, defiance is a star. This is not something that I would get from the card, even with the meaning, which is completely fine for me. Okay, let's go back to the summon. So there's a complete description about the artwork, you know, where the text is coming from in the background. See, there's a section in that you can get for in the gold part, so you don't even have to look for it. If you're just curious about the gold element, which hopefully you can see. Don't know how the camera is picking this one up, I mean which angle, but you know the text is in gold. And this is the letters are written upon a note from the Solemn Switch trials, which is, you know, there's intention about everything in this deck, and it's not just like a text in the background that looks like text, and you can just be like, oh, it's a written text because it's justice. There is the witch solemn trials connected to that. When it comes to justice, I think that's a really good thing to pull in, because you will understand what the card is all about. And then you have the upright meaning. If you use upright and reversals, I use position, but I think it's pretty much the same. Then reversed, and you know, there's enough. So even though this is not a deck that you can easily start with, as in if you are learning tarot, it's definitely will take you time to learn it. And even if you know the basic meanings, or the traditional, not basic, the traditional card meanings, you will need time to study this deck. But I don't think that's a bad thing. After a while, I think most of us who have decks that are following the traditional meaning, we get a little bit bored with those cards, because we want something new. And if you're craving something new and you want a beautiful deck, obviously if you like the look at that burn. If you like the imagery, because some people don't like the genderlessness in a way, because some cards you can just be like it's female presenting, but it's not necessarily female. I always think about the I wanted to say it too quickly. I know I talked about this previously when I talked about True Black, one of the sci-fi books that I read, the Shadowland series, and I'm not gonna be able to tell you what it's called, but you know, if you watch that, or you know what I mean, or if you're curious, just comment down below and I will look up the thing that I'm trying really hard to remember, but I can't right now. The creature that, you know, can adapt and look exactly like someone, but how that creature starts is like milk white skin and no like features, just the shape of a humanoid, and it will just, you know, if it touches someone and gets that DNA, they can transform themselves into them. That's the description, and that scene from the book still haunts me. So yeah, whatever. But these people in the deck reminds me of that creature, which I'm gonna be so annoyed that I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, this is about the guidebook, how it worked for me. Honestly, I think it worked well, even though I sometimes I like to think that certain decks are, you know, above like simple readings, like everyday readings, and I think some decks are, but I think with this one you can use it for daily draws as well. Just don't be surprised if you need to spend more time figuring out what the deck actually is trying to tell you, because if you get a major arcana, oh look at that, that's so beautiful, like a legacy for a daily, just, you know, like energy reading, you will spend time in the guidebook and you will look for, or at least that's what I do, I think subconsciously, I look for a bigger meaning throughout the day, because I think that, you know, if a major arcana is coming up, that means that there is something big going on and I'm trying to find that big thing. But sometimes it's not that, it's just something small that connects to a big a bigger idea or a bigger meaning, but it's easy to fall into the trap of, oh, I have a major arcana, especially from a deck where the meaning is not necessarily the traditional one, to look for something bigger than what the deck is trying to tell you, actually. Or at least, it happens to me, or happened to me a few times. But I do still think that this is a great deck. I don't know if I'd necessarily designate a certain type of reading to it. What I tried once and I really liked how it read and worked was doing a light and shadow reading with the True Black and this deck, especially because the one that I did, there were, I think, the king of wands or some king on both sides. Like for a situation, like what's the shadow side of it, was the light side of it, and it was so interesting to get the same exact card on both sides, because I think that just shows how sometimes a situation or part of it is not inherently good or bad. Sometimes it's both or neither, but it's easy to forget, because if we pull from the same deck for different positions, we can be like, oh, the king of wands is in the shadow element, it means that someone is really overconfident, or they just can't stick around, they lose interest too quickly, or they don't have confidence or stuff like that. But if it comes up on the other side as well, where the light attributes are coming from the same card, you really have to look at it like, okay, this is a complex situation, it's not black and white, how we sometimes like to do. Okay, the V is always I. But that's one of the reasons why I love tarot, because sometimes you get a philosophical debate out of a simple reading, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, so this was my month and a half with this deck. Actually, I really liked it. I still think that it's useful to go through the majors and make notes about the meanings, because there's a lot of text. So if you want to just do quick readings and you are not able to remember all the meanings all the time, which I am like that, because if I don't use just one deck, I forget the meanings because I use something else, and I haven't used this deck for years yet. So all the meanings or keywords are not stuck yet. So I think at some point I will do create a list, but now I'm using obviously a different deck for the daily draws and the other readings. So we will see when that happens. And obviously, if there's gonna be a time, I will update you guys with a longer period a video. But yeah, hope this was useful. Do let me know if you have the deck, or if you want the deck, or if you don't want it, why don't you want it? It could be just the price, honestly. I was just very happy that I caught this one on Kickstarter, but yeah, unfortunately I can see myself getting any deck that this creator creates, which sucks in a way, because I just love the artwork. But it's art, so why not? But yeah, I hope this was useful. Please do let me know what you think, and see you in the next one. Bye!